But as I turn my attention to race 19, heat 1 of the second leg of the sidecars, a quick look down there. Of course, we had problems in the first leg for Steve Smith and Keith Wall. They'll be looking to get better points from this one. Rustling and Paul Urich, a very disappointing result for them back in 4th place. But one outfit that did go well was number 16, that's Steve Wright and Gary Wright. Now I can see that they're not actually on the pit gate at the moment. I can see that everybody's looking anxiously at that pit box. And if I can stretch the binoculars across to that sidecar start line, it does look to me as if we're missing Steve Smith at the moment. There's one of our reserves, that's of course Pete Nunn and Mark Nunn. And I'm told it's Paul Pratt that's on the back, not Mark Nunn. So they've come into this race. No Steve Smith, but as we get underway, it's Rustling and Paul Urich that have made a much better start than they did earlier on this afternoon. I wonder if there's been yet another gear change, because perhaps they thought that they'd got the gearing right, but when they got out there and saw it in race conditions, the whole aspect has changed. But Dave Steer it is up in 2nd place behind Rustling and Paul Urich in the lead. Back in 3rd place is Steve and Gary Wright. That combination getting them through to a 2nd place earlier on in the first leg. Dave Steer, of course, was doing very well in his first ride till he hit problems later on in the race. He did get across the finishing line and get a 5th place, but he knows that he's got a lot of work to do in his next 2 rides. Rustling and Paul Urich, though, they'll have in their minds that they had a disappointing ride first time out, so they'll be anxious for a win, and they look to be going after that at the moment. They go very quickly into that bottom bend. Losing Dave Steer momentarily, but as Dave Steer goes wide, he gets a much faster exit on that pit bend. Goes wide up that far side straight as we go into the top corner. Closing all the time, Dave Steer. Rustling and Paul Urich must be conscious that he's right behind them. They'll be wondering which way he's going to come from. Into the last lap we go as we go into that pit bend for the 3rd time. Now anxiously watching Dave Steer, looking to go for the outside, then the inside. It's the outside that he likes on that bottom corner, though, and he goes up the outside on that far side. Oh, that was a really clever ride from Dave Steer. He followed Rustling into that bottom bend. He then went up the outside where he knew he was quicker on that far side. He's now closed it in plate on this top end, and that's a really clever win for Dave Steer and Andy Orchard. Rustling gets 2nd, Steve and Gary Wright in 3rd. So with 2 outfits out there, knowing they had to do well, both of them got to the front. Indeed, it's Dave Steer that does the best of all. The sidecars a win. Change of passenger for Len Foreman, of course. He hasn't got Ray Foreman in the chair this afternoon. Eddie Elvis has stepped in that place. Very experienced passenger, Eddie, of course, so there shouldn't be any problems for Len Foreman. Well, as we get underway, we're watching to see who's made the best of the starts. Craig Cheatham has made a good one. John Hiscock on his outside also has made a good one. Roger Measor is up on the inside. The start to close for him. He's put back into 3rd place as they go into that first bend. It's John Hiscock that's made the best of it, though, as they come round that first bend. Craig Cheatham is right up there in 2nd place on the back wheel of John Hiscock. There's problems for Craig Cheatham. Oh, that's a great shame to see Craig pulling out there. I couldn't see what the problem is. It's possibly a chain, but indeed he pulls off going into the pits there. It means that John Hiscock has still got that lead, but Roger Measor is now very close to him. Looks for the gap going into that top bend. It meant that Roger Measor got up in the 2nd when we lost Craig Cheatham, but he's now finding his way through to that 1st place. John Hiscock not wanting to give that 1st place up. Roger Measor gets through. As he comes past us, he gets himself into the lead, but John Hiscock right there with him. Len Foreman up in 3rd place, with of course Eddie Elvis in the chair this time, but as we look to the far side, Roger Measor and Shane Lapham had a win first time out. They've certainly not had it easy in this one, but they've got themselves to the front, and they're now starting to pull away from John Hiscock and Dave French. John having a really good afternoon here so far this afternoon. He held off Roger Measor for 2 laps. But then Roger, once he's got through, is now starting to pull away. Oh, Lemon, Foreman and Eddie Elvis still there in 3rd spot. Jeff Sims not being able to close on them. But as we look to the far side, all eyes, I'm sure, will be on those leaders, Roger Measor and Shane Lapham. They've got maximum points from their first ride, and as they come towards the checkered flag, that's 2 rides, 2 wins for outfit number 51. Oh, 2 rides and 2 second places for outfit number 84, John Hiscock and Dave French. So they're scoring well. Leonard Foreman and Eddie Elvis get third place. Jeff Sims finishes in fourth. Competition, their second leg of course, and a second win for outfit number 51, Roger Measor and Shane Lapham. In second place, number 84, John Hiscock and Dave French. In third place, number 14, Len Foreman and Eddie Elvis. Fourth place, number 33, Jeff Sims and John Stanley. The winning time, 98.33, 98.33 the time. So, maximum points so far for outfit number 51, Roger Measor and Shane Lapham. We look quickly to Heat 3 of the second leg. It's race 21 in your programme, sponsored by Motorcycle Rebuild. It's an interesting way to describe a business, isn't it? Rebuild motorcycles. Well, I've been interested to see where these outfits are lining up on that gate. I can see that John Halsey and Neville Penfold are in fact farthest most away from us. They're nearest the crowd on that far side. John Halsey right on the outside. Neville Penfold is third in, but as we see them get underway, it's Pete Dyer that's made a very, very good start. John Halsey is up there in second, and Neville Penfold, well, is he third as they go into that first bend? It's going to be close, as he's been forced to go wide and go all the way around the outside of John Halsey. Well, Pete Dyer has indeed got himself to the front, but together is Neville Penfold and Paul Randall and John Halsey and Tony Miles. They all close up on Pete Dyer, and it's Neville Penfold that goes the long way round. Oh, that was a tremendous corner from Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. They do look to be on form this afternoon, as John Halsey's got no answer to them as they get away from him. But as they go into that top bend, they've now established themselves 3 or 4 bike lengths in the lead as they come down past us for the second time. Well, they know that Roger Measor has had a maximum. They knew they had John Halsey out there with them on maximum points. This is a valuable win if they can stay where they are. Pete Dyer still there in second place, in Tony Bannister in the chair, of course, but John Halsey closing all the time on him. Oh, John knows he's had that win first time out. He'll at least want to get into second place as he comes across the line. So as we go into the last lap, no question about the leaders, though. Neville Penfold and Paul Randall in brilliant form. John Halsey has got through in that second spot. Oh, a good top corner from John Halsey and Tony Miles as we watch them go round that far side. Oh, there is just one more corner to negotiate. Really, Neville Penfold and Paul Randall looking in tremendous. They take the extra flag. That's 2 outfits on 2 wins. John Halsey and Tony Miles get second. Pete Dyer gets third. Ian McCauley has come through for that 4th place. As indeed we see Stuart Skinsky finish in 4th. Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. In second place, number 13, John Halsey and Tony Miles. Third place, number 58, Pete Dyer and Tony Bannister. In 4th place, number 50, Ian and Rick McCauley. And 5th place, number 22. The winning time, 98.99. 98.99 the time. Oh, that's a great shame to see that. I thought we might have seen Ivor Matthews and Peter Jones out on a borrowed outfit, but it doesn't look as if they've been able to make it. So again, they miss a ride as we watch the far side. It is Alan and John Blewitt that again have made a very, very good start. Look for Gary Jackson though as he goes wide up that first straight. Rob Wilson's up there with them as well. Alan and John Blewitt slow it down going into that top end. They've allowed Gary Jackson to get close to them. Rob Wilson looks to get them on the inside. But it is Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams that we're most watching, because as they go into that pit bend, they've gone wide again, as they love to do on that bottom bend. And yet again, they've made it pay off. Up the back straight they go. Alan and John Blewitt not losing contact with them on the back straight, but as they go into the top corner, that's a much, much quicker entry from Gary Jackson. Alan and John Blewitt close to them, trying to hold it tight to keep out Rob Wilson in third. But Gary Jackson gets away. Oh, now the battle, I think, is for that second place as Rob Wilson attempts to do the same as Gary Jackson did, and has he got away with it? He's gone wide, certainly, on that pit bend. He's gone all the way around the outside. A tremendous corner once again, but this time Alan and John Blewitt close up going into this top bend. That seems to be where Alan and John Blewitt are losing out. They don't seem to go into that top bend as much as everybody else. Rob Wilson comes in very tight on the exit of the bend. Well, again, perhaps we've got to watch the best of Rob Wilson's racing to be seen at the end of the race. He's closed right up on Gary Jackson coming into that pit bend. As they go up the back straight, I think that Gary Jackson is conscious of it. He must again be getting signals for his passenger, Kevin Williams. Oh, they had a much, much bigger lead a lap ago, but Rob Wilson has done well to close it. It's asking him to close right up on the very quick Gary Jackson. He takes the second win. Rob Wilson gets another second place. Alan and John Blewitt finishes third. We wait some while then to see who it is that gets fourth place, and that's one the lap scorers can decide for me, because that was close between Tim Bennett and Terry Phillips. Those of you on the far side, I'm sure, have been watching the clock on the roof of where we're sitting. A win for number 23, Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams. In second place, number 24, Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. Third place, outfit number 3, Alan and John Blewitt. And fourth place, number 52, that was close on the line, but just number 52, Terry Phillips. And in fifth place, number 18, Tim Bennett. The winning time, 96.57, a very quick time indeed, 96.57. Another win for Gary Jackson. It means that we finished...
So then, final race for the 250 solos. Anxiously looking at his points. John Jefferies and Terry Giles up there well. Jon Underwood as well in the point scoring. So let's see who's going to come out on top of this. 23 and problems obviously, but Paul Ranson, who was going well earlier on and clearly missed the start. So then we'll cross to the far side. John Jefferies looks to me in third place, challenging right around the outside. So then, remember it's point scoring all the way, 3 races for the 250 Championship. Down in the front is Terry Giles in the lead. Terry Giles being hounded by Jon Underwood, but right round the outside of the lot of them goes John Jefferies. Number 14, John Jefferies, out in front now. Jon Underwood in third place. And John Jefferies found a little bit of a hole there, but he's kept the power on, leading this one. So Terry Giles ahead of Jon Underwood and tucked in behind him, Gayden. And then number 7, Keith Strudwick. So then way out in front now, John Jefferies. Remember, he missed his first outing on the 250, so he needs a good score in this time. And if he can score a maximum once again, that'll be 20 points from his 2 outings. One more lap to go, and it's still John Jefferies from Swindon with the advantage. Still in second place is Terry Giles, then Jon Underwood, then Gayden, and back a little way to number 7, Keith Strudwick, who just in turn is ahead of number 32, Terry Howe. So it looks at the moment like a clear victory on the far side for the former schoolboy champion, number 14, John Jefferies. He's done all he can. He missed his first outing, but he scored maximum in his 2 outings in the 250 class. John Jefferies it is who wins. Gayden comes through, just ahead of Terry Giles on a last lap challenge. And Jon Underwood tucked in behind them. Well, it was Gayden then that made the move on the last lap. Yet another schoolboy performer with a great reputation and moving into the adult scene. Place, number 14, John Jefferies. In second place, number 112, Gayden. In third place, number 30, Terry Giles. In fourth place, number 77, Jon Underwood. In fifth place, number 7, Keith Strudwick. In sixth place, number 17, Richard Worry. In seventh place, number 32, Terry Howe. In eighth place, number 6, Phil Ranson. Followed by numbers 155 and 169. And the time for the winner, 1 minute 17.48. 1 minute 17.48. From the top then, 14, 112, 30, 77, 7, 17, 32, 6, 155 and 169. We move to race 24, the 350 solos. Having said that, we've got Mark Taylor going in this first race, so clearly a win here would be an advantage to him. He goes, in fact, with his brother Neil, so we've got 173 Neil Taylor and 170 Mark Taylor, both going in race 24. But we have, of course, number 38, David Wright, a non-starter. Sadly, we haven't seen a lot of Tony Atkin on the 350 this afternoon, and in fact he hasn't had a lot of luck in the 500s. He's a couple of retirements, I think, so we will see good things from Tony Atkin, I'm sure, but maybe today it just isn't his day. Here we go then with 350 action. Neil Taylor from Mark Taylor out there in the middle with Mark Harris with him as well. Round the bend they go, and it's Mark Taylor then who's out in front. Neil Taylor in second place, Mark Harris in third. And that could be Glyn Stanton closing up. So then, Mark Taylor with his brother in his wheel tracks, Neil. Watched, no doubt, by Roger down in the paddock there. Mark Harris in behind, then Glyn Stanton, and then back a little way to number 12, Henry Whitfield. Well, Henry's been having some good starts, but not on this occasion. So then, Mark and Neil Taylor on the RTS. I think these days Mark runs the shop down in Newent and Roger builds the equipment. Neil Taylor then in second place, Mark Harris in third, Glyn Stanton in fourth, and behind him, 12, Henry Whitfield. So the place is exactly the same as they were on the previous one. Well, then this field is somewhat depleted this time out, but important nonetheless, because remember, it's points that will determine the championship. Into the last lap they go with Mark Taylor still ahead of Neil, and Mark Harris, and Glyn Stanton. And all the way back to Henry. So no changes at all on the last two laps. Next time around will be the checkered flag. To riders used to very short laps, this must be quite a strange experience. It's giving commentators a little bit of time as well, but for riders it must seem to go on forever. Victory then for 170 Mark Taylor, Neil Taylor in second place, Mark Harris in third, Glyn Stanton in fourth, and in fifth place, Henry Whitfield. To the 350 solos third leg. In first place, number 170 Mark Taylor. In second place, number 173 Neil Taylor. In third place, number 260 Mark Harris. In fourth place, number 11 Glyn Stanton. In fifth place, number 12 Henry Whitfield. And the winner's time, 1 minute 16.82. 1 minute 16.82. So here we are then on the line, race 25. And right to the front goes number 14. So John Jefferies then, and there's a really making impact not only on the 250 but also on the 350 class. And it's John Jefferies in lead. We're looking for Keith Potts to come through. The points matter to Keith Potts, but John Jefferies is a little bit of a spoiler in the 350 competition now. I say a spoiler, he was actually sitting in joint second place. He's anything but, he's out to win it. And it Keith Potts in second place now, up in the second. Mark Giles up in the third, so this is a battle that could determine the winner of the 350 South Midland Championship. John Jefferies out in front. Keith Potts in second place. 10 points for the winner, 8 points for the second place. Will this make all the difference to determining who's going to win this championship? Little way back now to number 26, Mark Giles. Then number 78, David Mears, and then number 77, Jon Underwood. So then here comes the leader, Jon Jefferies, round towards us once again, this time the last lap flag. Still holding off Keith Potts. Now fairway ahead of Mark Giles in third place. And then David Mears, Jon Underwood. Kevin Struck, that's top 7 as well. So, as they come down towards us for the last time, victory once again this afternoon for number 14, Jon Jefferies, who's having a splendid afternoon. Victory for Jon Jefferies. Keith Potts in second place. Third place for Mark Giles. Fourth place, just I think, for David Mears, with Jon Underwood just behind him, and then coming back, not a little way back, to Jonathan Duke. 500 solo races. This one, race 26, sponsored by M. Darville and Company, accountants. Splendid to get accountants involved with a thing like this. Excellent. Well, it does look as though there's going to be a three-way runoff for the 350 championship with Jon Jefferies, Keith Potts and Mark Taylor all on the same number of points. Just when exactly that's going to take place, we'll find out from the paddock. So then, the 500s on the line. Grant Blackie, Keith Massingham, Neville Tatum, Nathan Moran, Jock Davison, Peter Lloyd, Andy Northover, Mark Chessel, Mark Harris and Alan Harmer. There with Neville Tatum making a rocket-like start, and Peter Lloyd on his heels as they go into that first lap. A bit of a problem, but we thought it was still shoey long from the previous outing that slowed Neville up, but nothing's going to slow him this time. He is really flying. Oh, and he's down. And that's quite a heavy fall, I'd say. We have a red flag on this side. Rerun of race 26. Sponsored by M. Darville & Co. Accountants. So away we go. Mark Chessel making an excellent start. Alan Harmer going with him. And after that heavy fall, Neville Tatum not taking part in the rerun. So, Mark Chessel on the far side with Peter Lloyd sitting in second place behind him as they go down the back straight, and Mark Chessel. Going down, it looked like he was going to hang on to it, and then eventually he did lose it. So it's Peter Lloyd out in front now. They come past us once again. Alan Harmer in second place. 260 Mark Harris in third. Well, it's been an adventurous race for Mark Chessel, one way or another. But it's Peter Lloyd now. Peter, who had few seasons on the show, these days concentrates on the grass and goes in very, very well. Grant Blackie from our stock visitors up in second place. Right in front then, it's Peter Lloyd to have an impregnable lead now. That's a lot can happen in racing, as we know. He comes wide off that bottom bend, past the paddock, heads past the last lap flag, and goes way ahead of number 40, Grant Blackie. Then 1-2-1 in there, Alan Harmer just ahead of Mark Harris in fourth place. In fifth place, it's Nathan Morton. And behind him, number 117, Keith Massingham. And then number 5, Jock Davis. So here comes the man who inherited that lead, riding superbly. Victory then for Peter Lloyd. Second place, Grant Blackie. Who's going to get third place? Third place, just 260 Mark Harris, just ahead of 121 Alan Harmer. Fifth place, going to number 51, Nathan Morton. In sixth place, to Keith Massingham. First place, number 4, Peter Lloyd. In second place, number 40, Grant Blackie. In third place, number 260, Mark Harris. In fourth place, number 121, Alan Harmer. In fifth place, number 51, Nathan Morton. In sixth place, number 117, Keith Massingham. And the winner's time, 1 minute 11.21. 1 minute 11.21. Those numbers read 4, 40, 260, 121, 51 and 117. Twice, I think. Steve Bishop also going very well. Colin Earl going well. David Steen, a terrific gator. An interesting race, this one. Race 27 then on your programme. Call to the start now. The gate goes up. Another nice clean start. So then, it's got the best half of the start. Well, it's 1, 3, 4. It's Steve Bishop. Steve Bishop is really flying here this afternoon. David Perry sitting in third place and having a little bit of a problem because Colin Earl really closed right up on him then. So, and in front then, it's Steve Bishop. Number 134. Steve Bishop from Bristol. Ahead of number 41, Dave Steen. David Perry and Colin Earl in tremendous struggle for third place. Colin Earl taking third place. David Perry back to fourth. So then a three-way struggle. David Steen, Colin Earl, David Perry all fighting away for second, third and fourth places. The leader, and in front, it's Steve Bishop. That Jawa going well. Fifth place, number 54, Duncan Tolhurst, fifth place ahead of number 81, Paul Pratt. So then, as the leader, Steve Bishop comes round to be greeted by the last lap flag. Look a little way back, that struggle for second place continues. Steve Bishop there, quite a long way ahead now. David Steen and Colin Earl battling away. David Perry in fourth. In fifth place, Duncan Tolhurst. In sixth place, Paul Pratt. Looking up to the far side. Are we going to see any change in that second and third placings as they go down the back straight? The leader, Steve Bishop, away from this struggle, and Colin Earl has a length or two to make up. The checkered flag's out. Victory then for Steve Bishop. Dave Steen gets second. Colin Earl gets third. Looks down at the Jawa. And then we get David Perry. Then number 54, Duncan Tolhurst. And then number 81, Paul Pratt. 41, 172, 100, 54 and 81. Tom Ledbetter, Trevor Eadon, Henry Whitfield, Lee Caulfield, David Pepper, John Trevitt, Chris Tritton and Jonathan Sims. Here we go then, with race 28. Harry Redfield makes another good start. Paul Hurry goes with him. Vince Kinchin on the outside. Paul Hurry then emerges from the pack. With Vince Kinchin challenging hard as they go around the bend. Paul Hurry, Vince Kinchin. As we look across to the far side there. Well, the Peterborough Speedway man's been in tremendous form here this afternoon. Nice little wheelie coming off the bend. Vince Kinchin really trying to get close. Jonathan Sims coming through, sitting in fourth spot at the moment, but looking to come through as he goes past the beer tank into third place. So it's Jonathan in third place. Jonathan Sims in trouble by looks of things. He's going to get past down that very quick straight on the far side. Fights back to try and take third. Ahead of him it's Vince Kinchin in second. Paul Hurry in the lead. Move up into second place now. Number 98, Andrew Gittings. And Jonathan Sims swapping places as that battle for third place. And off that bend, Jonathan Sims always seems to have a bit of a problem. He loses an awful lot of ground and then has to try and make it up again on the approach to the next bend by the paddock. Tolhurst, meanwhile, leads the field into the last lap. Kinchin is still there in second place. Andrew Gittings in third. Coming up in the fourth now. Tritton. Now it's Jonathan Sims in fifth. Looking across to the far side, quite a struggle going on. Meanwhile, the last lap flag goes out for Paul Hurry. Then Sir Kinchin's, in fact it's not the last lap, it's the checkered flag for Paul Hurry, who wins. Vince Kinchin in second place. In third place, number 98, Andrew Gittings. And that's the way they finished. Sponsored by the Horse and Jockey Hotel. In first place, number 86, Paul Hurry. In second place, number 8, Vince Kinchin. In third place, number 98, Andrew Gittings. In fourth place, number 83, Chris Tritton. In fifth place, number 68, Jonathan Sims. In sixth place, number 12, Henry Whitfield. And in seventh place, number 155, David Pepper. And following him, number 19, John Trevor. And the winner's time, 1 minute 6.68. McHow, Anthony Locke, Scott Wilson, Antti Bugard, Richard Gillam, Mark Seabright, and Tony Atkin. That's the field. This is race 29, the last of the 500 solo qualifying races. And we understand that the 350 championship runoff will be run immediately after race 33 and before race 34. So plenty of drive off that start line, but a nice clean start once again. Mark Seabright leads the field into that first bend. Through into the cross to the far side. Mark Seabright still with the advantage as we go down the back straight. So then, Mark Seabright, having made that super start, holding off the opposition as they come past us once again. Ian Humphries up in the second, in third, Anthony Bugard, so the Channel Islands man is making an impact on this one. Not ready to come Grasstrack racing, but clearly revelling in this super high-speed circuit here. So then, looking across to the far side, still 167, it's still Mark Seabright with the advantage. And he's now establishing himself comfortably up at the head of things. Ian Humphries in second, Anthony Bugard in third, so the first three places remaining exactly the same. At the end of this lap, it'll be the last lap flag. Mark Seabright at the moment seems to have it pretty much under control, so the man from Ringwood on the BRM Jawa riding well here in race 29. One more lap to go. Ian Humphries still in second, Anthony Bugard up there in third, Kevin back in fourth. Now we're going to stop to the far side because the battle is all about that second place struggle. Mark Seabright seems to be a fair way ahead of that. It remains to be seen whether we're going to see a change in that battle for second and third places. The checkered flag goes out. Victory then for 167 for Mark Seabright. In second place, Ian Humphries. In third place, Kevin Buck, a problem on the bend there. Number 9, Ricky Sanford comes through. Then number 91, Scott Wilson. Problems there as Anthony Locke comes across the line because number 22, Anthony Bugard, who came all the way from Guernsey to race with us, struck trouble right on that last lap. And he looked like he was going to get second or third and is going to have to push across the line. Races in the third leg. In first place, number 167, Mark Seabright. In second place, number 94, Ian Humphries. In third place, number 3, Kevin Buck. In fourth place, number 9, Ricky Sanford. In fifth place, number 91, Scott Wilson. In sixth place, number 82, Anthony Locke. And in seventh place, number 22, Anthony Bugard. And the winning time, 1 minute 10.97. 1 minute 10.97. The numbers 167, 94, 3, 9, 91, 82, and 22. And across to Jim to take you through the sidecar qualifying races, their third leg.
Oh, thanks, Tony, and a very interesting situation as we go into the third leg, because we've got 3 riders equal on 14 points leading this. And already we're underway with the first heat of the third leg, and what I was going to say was that 2 of those top point scorers are actually out in this heat. I'm sure you've all picked that up as well, and you can see that into the lead already goes Roger Measor. He's one of those top maximum points from 2 rides. And Gary Jackson, who's worked his way through in that first bend in the second place, is the other rider. We know that Gary Jackson gets faster as the race goes on. We've got an interesting thing in prospect now because Roger Measor knows that as well. He'll be trying his hardest to stay in front of Gary Jackson, not to set any sort of precedent for that final. We watch them go into that top bend. Will the gap be closed? Roger Measor got a dream of a start. Gary Jackson had to work hard in that first bend, but he's already catching up as he follows Roger Measor down this straight in front of us, into the bottom pit bend. Will that gap close as they come past you? Remember what the distances were when they come past you. Then look to see if it closes on the last lap, because they got that back straight with Roger Measor and Shane Lapham looking in tremendous form. You can see both those 2 outfits on maximum points have got a long way ahead of the rest of the field. That's the sort of thing that can happen on these big fast circuits. But can Gary Jackson close on Roger Measor? And will he be content for a second place? You never know what's going through a driver's mind at the moment, because he won't want to try and overdo it while he knows that he's got very good points. They'll all have worked the points out before going into this third leg ride. They know exactly what they need to do. Roger Measor will be pleased to get a moral victory over Gary Jackson by coming around that top end and going into the checkered flag unbeaten this afternoon. Of course, it means he at the moment is the only rider unbeaten in this competition. Gary Jackson gets a very good second place. I think that means we are going to see him in the final if my arithmetic has been correct. You can see the sort of gap they've opened up. Ray Foreman, it's not Ray Foreman, of course, it's Ray and Eddie Elvis who finished third. But really has that set a precedent for what we're going to see in the final. Some very, very quick sidecars here this afternoon. Right leg of the sidecar competition, a win for number 51, Roger Measor and Shane Lapham. In second, number 23, Gary Jackson and Kevin Williams. Third place, number 14, that is, of course, Len Foreman and Eddie Elvis. Fourth place, number 58, Pete Dyer and Tony Bamister. And fifth place, number 33, Jeff Sims. The winning time, 97.89. And all those of you that did remind me in the interval that 97.89 is 97 seconds, I know it means I was going to quickly try and work that out there. 137.89 as we normally say, but we've got a 100-second clock. That's what we're working with, modern technology and all that stuff. There's a gentleman that gave me so much grief in the interval, waves an ordinary watch in front of me, and he seems to think he's doing a better job than we are, but we've got all the time the same. That's what's important, isn't it? Blewitt, Dave Steer, rustling, but of course it can all change in this third leg. We now have seen points being dropped by Gary Jackson, so he adds 5 points to that and 14 he's scored already. Roger Measor, of course, has made sure of a place in the final. He finishes on 21 points. We anxiously watch to see what happens in Heat 2, because we see in action again Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. They also have a chance of finishing on maximum points. Well, as we look to the far side, we've got a rather depleted field. Obviously no Ivor Matthews has appeared again. And no Steve Smith, of course. He must have hit serious problems earlier on today. He went out that first race. Obviously the onward there. Neville Penfold and Paul Randall then being seen to be given a little bit of an easy ride in their last leg, but they'll want to win this, and they'll want to win it in a good time to show that they can go as quick as Roger Measor. So perhaps all eyes now will be on the time that we see for Heat 2, because Neville Penfold and Paul Randall have looked in great form this afternoon. They're exactly where they would want to be, and it looks as if it's problems for Craig Cheatham. Craig Cheatham pulls off into the centre of the circuit. He's not had a good day at all, Craig Cheatham. He's had some brilliant rides, but he's been certainly let down with mechanical problems, as we see this field depleted now to just 2 outfits. But I'm convinced that Neville Penfold and Paul Randall won't slow up, because they know they're out there on their own. They'll be wanting to put in a good time to show Roger Measor they can stay with them. But of course it does mean that this race distance will give them an unbeaten ride from 3 outings this afternoon. As we watch to that far side, Paul Randall looking over his shoulder. I can see the hand signals there going to Neville, so in fact I could see Neville perhaps slowing down and just taking things a bit steady. Well, they come past us now going into the last lap. because they know that they're in a strong qualifying position, or whether there is indeed a problem. Because they've slowed a lot more than I would have expected them to, and it certainly didn't look as if the steering was 100% when Neville came past me. But we'll watch to see if we can see a bit more as they come into the checkered flag. It's going to mean exactly what they wanted going into this last ride. That's 7 more points, giving them an equal finishing total to Roger Measor. Well, I'll strain my eyes on that one. I don't think there was actually a problem, so very sensibly there, Neville Penfold taking the win. And of course it was 12 and 26. I'm sure you've all got that one in already. Even I could manage to lap score that one. 12 was, of course, Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. Second to them was number 26. That, of course, is our replacement riders, Mark Sarax and Rob Sarax. And the time, it confirmed what we all started to think, that they did do one more lap. The time on the 100-second clock says 1:34.64. So a very long time, but we do think that unfortunately they were forced to do another lap. But not to worry, it's not changed the positions. Neville Penfold and Paul Randall get maximum points from 3 rides. They finish on 21 points. We look to Heat 3, and what an interesting one this could be, because a lot of the riders that are on those points of no return where they could or couldn't get a qualifying position, all are actually competing against each other in Heat 3. This does promise to be a good race. Alan and John Blewitt have had a second and a third place. They sit on 9 points at the moment. Rob Wilson and Vince Jones, they've had 2 second places. They sit on only 10 points at the moment. Number 84, John Hiscock, I'm told it's Steve Kensington that's riding for John Hiscock, not Dave French. They've had 2 seconds. They're equal on 10 points as well. Tim Bennett is by no means out of the frame. Steve Wright and Gary Wright, they're also on 9 points. So a very interesting racing prospect. This ride could mean a place in the final or just missing out. We watch to see what happens as they go into the first bend. Alan and John Blewitt lead coming into that first bend. They again have had another good start. That's been certainly their character this afternoon. They've had a great start. But Rob Wilson and Vince Jones, these 2 outfits have performed exactly the same this afternoon. Rob Wilson and Vince Jones have had 2 second places. Alan and John Blewitt, they sit on 9 points. They, of course, have had a second and a third place. But already you can see that Rob Wilson has started to open the gap. Now the rest of the riders are into the fighting chance. We'll see what's happened as Alan and John Blewitt go wide again. John Hiscock and Steve Kinchin are up very close to them. Well, Steve Wright and Gary Wright, they're on 9 points as well. They have a chance of qualifying as John Hiscock tries to get inside Alan and John Blewitt. It's tight going up that far side. It's a good scrap for second place, this. Any one of these outfits could make sure of a place in the final. We're getting a second place now. But as we watch to see Rob Wilson and Vince Jones come round past us, the trap suggesting that second place. 3 outfits almost together as they come past me. Steve Wright has gone through on the inside. Well, that was a tremendous top corner for Steve Wright. Can he get through inside of Alan and John Blewitt as well? He's certainly having a go. But Alan and John Blewitt still keep their nose in front as they go up that back straight. John Hiscock now having a go again to get up on the inside of Steve and Gary Wright. Those 3 outfits will close. It's going to be tight to the line as those 3 come towards us. Rob Wilson and Vince Jones win it, but who's going to get this? Alan and John Blewitt incredibly hang on to that second place. Steve and Gary Wright finished in third. And indeed it was John Hiscock that lost the fight for that second place between those 3 outfits. But tremendous sidecar racing. I think we're going to see more of that when we get to that big final. The leg of the sidecars, and a nice victory for Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. Number 24 then goes in first place. That does their point scoring no harm whatsoever, and I think guarantees them a place in the final. In second place, outfit number 3, Alan and John Blewitt. What a tremendous fight they had on their hands. In third place, number 16, Steve Wright and Gary Wright. Fourth place, number 84, John Hiscock and Steve Kensington. Fifth place, number 18, Tim Bennett. And the winning time, 98.64. As we've been giving you, of course, that could equate to 138.64, but 98.64 we're giving it to you. Over the page we go, and we move into the last of the qualifying rides. Remember, of course, that we've got the runoff for the 350s. What a tremendous way to see that competition decided. The 350 class, those of you that have been going to the same meetings as me this year will appreciate that there has been some tremendous upturns in 350 competition. That really is a very, very strong competition. I was fortunate enough, of course, to be at the 250 and 350 British Championships, and that was run extremely well down at Syrah. And I've got to say that one of the most unluckiest riders there had to have been Keith Potts. A lot of people had tipped him for winning that 350 title, and he was unfortunate enough to put it down. But a tremendous class of riders in the 350 competition, and I think it's great to see that the South Midland Centre champion is going to be one that actually wins it on the track. Nothing arithmetical about it at all. He's going to actually have to beat two other riders to win the competition. We're still with the Sidecars at the moment, of course, though, and it's the last of the qualifying races. We watch to see what happens in this one, because we have got some of the riders that are right up in amongst the top point scorers. Rustling and Paul Urich are not indeed one of those crews. They desperately need a good result in this one, because at the moment they are out of a qualifying position on 8 points only. Jon Halsey and Tony Miles are sitting in 4th place as they finished after the second legs. They were on 12 points, I should say, and they're in 2nd place at the moment, so they need to score points well as well, because other riders that have been in those qualifying positions have scored well. Rustling and Paul Urich leading at the moment as they come past me for the second time. They know they've got to do well in this one. Dave Steer in 3rd place at the moment. He had a disastrous ride first time out. If he's got any chance of qualifying the final, he needs to close up on those front two. Oh, we know he's capable of doing it. He's quite often worked his way through the field, but Rustling and Paul Urich looked to me as if they made a few adjustments, because they do look faster than they did in that first ride. As they come round off the top end, obviously now sorting out what was needed for riding this circuit. Tony Miles looks over his shoulder. I wonder if they've done the arithmetic before they come out for this one. Do they know that a 2nd place may be good enough? Well, I certainly haven't been able to work out the points, but if they're not careful, they're going to lose that 2nd spot, because Dave Steer has closed right up on them. Oh, closed up, I say. He's gone around the outside of them and goes into that last corner just with his nose in front of Jon Halsey. It's tight for that 2nd place as Rustling comes towards me to take the checkered flag. It's going to be close to the line, and it's very close on the line between Dave Steer on the outside and Jon Halsey on the inside. Right, we're into the finals in a very few moments. We've got a win for outfit number 6, Rustling and Paul Urich. In 2nd place, number 17, Dave Steer and Andy Orchard, just on the line indeed, in front of, in 3rd place, number 13, Jon Halsey and Tony Miles. 4th place, number 22, 5th place, number 52, and 6th place, number 25. The winning time, 99.72, 99.72, 6, 17, 13, 22, 52, and 25.
Taylor and Keith Potts all on the same points, and all going to determine the South Midland champion in the 350 class for 1993. Well, what a splendid way to complete what's been a super afternoon's racing from our friends in the 350 class. As Jim said earlier, certainly this has been a revelation this year, how good and exciting the 350 racing has been. But I must say that whenever we get both 250s or 350s out in the Grasstrack scene, we really do seem to get some great racing. We tend to perhaps forget when we're looking at the glamour and the speed of the 500 solos, but there's some super sport to be had with the 250s and the 350s. We've certainly seen that here today, or we're about to see some more. The 350 championship then going to a 3-way runoff. Interesting to know how they've determined which position's on the start line, but I guess they probably have to toss a coin or something for that. Here we go then, 350 championship time, they're all the way, somebody picks it up a little bit. I think that was Keith Potts on a little bit of a wheelie there. Off on his own goes Jon Jefferies, Mark Taylor goes with him, Keith Potts in 3rd place. So it's Jon Jefferies setting the early pace on his super quick track as we look across to the far side. Keith Potts goes through into 2nd, Mark Taylor in 3rd, but it's Jon Jefferies down over the tank, hoping to hold off the opposition. He knows that they're going to work down his advantage as fast as they can. They're going to really do their best to close up on him, but at the moment it's Jon Jefferies who leads. It's Keith Potts in 2nd place, Mark Taylor in 3rd. And at the moment, I have to say that Jon Jefferies seems to be building that advantage. He's pulling away a little bit, I fancy. Well, tremendous form for Jon Jefferies in what I believe to be his first adult meeting, showing us the sort of future that he's got on the Grasstrack and shale scene. Certainly he's going superbly here. Keith Keith Potts still in that second place. Mark Taylor still in that third. Very, very quick, but we're not seeing those gaps changing as we look across to the far side. So Jon Jefferies then going to make a major bid here for a successful start in his adult grass track career, going for the South Midland 350 Championship and looking as though he's got it under control. He's pulling away from the opposition. One more lap to go with Jon Jefferies out in first, Keith Potts in second place, Mark Taylor in third. Surely short of mechanical problems now, we're going to see Jon Jefferies complete this runoff to win the South Midland 350 Championship here this afternoon. So then, here we go, checkered flag time. Jon Jefferies wins the South Midland 350 Championship. Keith Potts in second place, Mark Taylor in third. Giving victory to number 14, Jon Jefferies. I'll pause while I write it down as well. In second place, number 175, Keith Potts. And in third place, number 170, Mark Taylor. And what good racing those three have provided us with this afternoon. There's a terrific Masters type lineup down there. Let's put that on one side. Don't forget that. The 3rd of October. Right. Here we go then with the 500 Championship, sponsored by an anonymous sponsor. Well, whoever it is, we thank him, of course, because anybody who supports our sport deserves our friendship and our thanks. So here we go then. Peter Lloyd, Vince Kinchin, Dave Steen, Paul Hurry, Andrew Gittings, David Perry, Steve Bishop, Colin Earl. That's the field. They'll be assembling in a moment or two. Here we go then. David Steen making a good start. Heading into that first bend, just a little wide, so we look through the dust to pick up the leaders. David Steen still in there. He went wide, but that wide line worked, and he's still in front. Paul Hurry moving through into third place. David Perry in fourth. We look at the struggle as they come round towards Andrew Gittings, well up there into contention too. So then, who's going to lead? David Steen out in front by a slim margin. Paul Hurry comes through. It's Paul Hurry and David Steen. Andrew Gittings in third place. David Perry in fourth. With a drop to the far side. And it's Paul Hurry who takes over. Paul Hurry it is out in front leading. David Steen in second place. David Perry back in fifth place as we look across to the far side. So then, on his way on this super fast track, it's Paul Hurry making his bid for the championship here. David Steen in second place, Andrew Gittings in third, then Kinchin in fourth, then Colin, then David Perry. And Vince Kinchin making up quite a bit of ground as he sits in fourth place, looking to try and move through into third place. Andrew Gittings just ahead of him. He moves, in fact, through into third. Gittings goes back to fourth, but out in front, it's Paul Hurry. One more lap to go. David Steen in second place. Vince Kinchin in third. Then Andrew Gittings. And Colin Earl trying to come up and get through that gaggle of riders and move through into a leading position. So we look across to the far side then. It's Paul Hurry going for the South Midland 500 Championship. Comes around the paddock bends. Sideways, feet up action, great stuff from Paul Hurry. Paul Hurry wins the South Midland 500 Championship. David Steen in second place, Vince Kinchin in third, Colin Earl in fourth, then Andrew Gittings, then David Perry, then Peter Lloyd, and then just behind him, Steve Bishop. What a good race. Well, Steve Bishop must have wondered what happened there. He's been gating so well all afternoon, had some great wins, but it just didn't go right for him in the final. Congratulations there to Paul Hurry. A terrific ride and a great final for the 500 solos. Hurry. In second place, number 41, David Steen. In third place, number 8, Vince Kinchin. In fourth place, number 172, Colin Earl. In fifth place, number 98, Andrew Gittings. In sixth place, number 100, David Perry. In seventh place, number 4, Peter Lloyd. And in eighth place, number 134, Steve Bishop. And the winner's time, 1 minute 5.78. 1 minute 5.78. Let's run through those numbers. 86, 41, 8, 172, 98, 100, 4 and 134. And the winner's time once again, 1 minute 5.78. And congratulations to Paul Hurry for winning the South Midland 500 Championship for 1993.
Of course, it is the Sidecar Final, a very big climax to the racing here this afternoon. I think a lot of people out there will be thinking that perhaps we have seen this afternoon just how fast some of these outfits can go. Because quite often within the form of racing that we have in Grasstrack, the circuits are a lot smaller. They aren't using the full power potentials. They're actually trying to gamble with what power they can get to the ground a lot lower down. It's been fascinating this afternoon for me to see some of these outfits completely wound up, and indeed excellent racing. I'm looking forward to this final because I don't think there's going to be anybody hanging about out of these 6 outfits that are coming to the line.
This guy's got to win it because when it doesn't go right, then we know who they blame.
They certainly do, Tony. Well, I said that we're looking forward to a very enjoyable final. My personal congratulations to all the championship winners. I'm glad to see that the South Midland Centre Championship has been run. There was a doubt over that earlier on in the season. It's great to see the South Midland getting back on the map, and they have had some very good meetings in this centre. They've certainly got some very strong riders, as indeed over the years they always have had, and it's really good to see things going. And I know that for some years now they've tried to get this field. I'm really pleased that they have, and a personal big thank you to the landowner for allowing it to be used. It's a superb venue, and I don't think we can say that loudly enough. It's a superb venue for Grasstrack, very well positioned in the country as well. I think that's a very valid point worth making, that it is positioned very well in terms of the geography of the UK. Well, let's turn our attention to the race in prospect. Race 35 is billed as in your programme, again sponsored by Mr. Anonymous. We say thank you, of course, to him. You know who you are, sir. We are in great debt to you. We're very, very pleased to see that you put money on this event and don't even want any thanks for it. But yes, we will thank you, even if we don't know who exactly you are. We look to the far side. We look for an even start. It's going to be very even all the way up halfway down that straight. Then we then look to see who's made the best of the breaks. That looks like Roger Measor has got away, but they've all got to go back and do it again, because I can see there's a red flag on the far side. I wonder why everybody was slowing up. Well, there's one very disappointed crew that's going to come round past me, Roger Measor and Shane Lapham, because it means they've got to do it again. Oh, I can see the start line is certainly prepared. I can't quite work out why the outfits have not made an attempt to get back in line again. I didn't go back that far to find Julian Wigg's name, I must add. I had to go back quite a few years. And he does claim that he was missed off on one of those trophies. I can't believe that, but... David Perry's 6th. 7th place is Peter Lloyd, and 8th place Steve Bishop. So that indeed is as they cross the line. We will sort out how the sidecars finish when we get this result, or get this race indeed underway, because they are now looking as if they're back in line. And remind you again, a very impressive lineup. I can see that we've got 4 of the 5 outfits already in line. Remind you again that Gary Jackson is on the far outside nearest the crowd. Roger Measor is next to him. Neville Penfold next to them. There is no John Halsey, so we've only got 5 outfits going. Those 3 on the outside have made a very, very quick start indeed. It's going to be close to the middle of that back straight. Rustling it is that's made the best of the start, though, and gets into that first bend. Well, Rustling made that inside gate pay, so right up the inside of all those quick runners on the outside of him. Rustling and Paul Urick lead as they go past me. Rob Wilson has got up into 2nd place. Neville Penfold is on the inside of him, though. And it's Neville Penfold that is pushed back into 3rd place as they go into that bottom bend. Watch for Gary Jackson, though. It's Jackson on the outside of Neville Penfold, but Roger Measor is on the inside of him. So Rustling and Paul Urich lead. A tremendous final on paper, and it's turned out to be exactly that. Rustling and Paul Urich come round off that top end, leading but only just from Rob Wilson in second. Neville Penfold is on the inside of him, but Roger Measor is on the inside of Neville Penfold. Gary Jackson is on the outside of Neville Penfold. And indeed, looking to see who it is that's made the best of that. Roger Measor it is that's come through in the third. So Rob Wilson now closes up on Rustling. Rustling slowing as he goes into that bend. Rob Wilson and Vince Jones come through on the inside of them and get to the front. So Rustling back in second now, but Roger Measor also trying to come through. Rob Wilson and Vince Jones going well at the moment though as they go into that last lap. Roger Measor up in second. Neville Penfold and Gary Jackson have lost touch of those front three. But let's stay with them because it's Rob Wilson and Vince Jones who really have looked to get faster and faster as the day's gone on. They've got the lead, but only just from Roger Measor and Shane Lapham. Roger Measor forced to take a wide line into that top bend. Those two outfits almost together as they get to the middle of the bend. Roger changes lines and comes from the inside. It's going to be close to the line. He's done it on the line. Oh, a tremendous final it turned out to me. What a cagey last bend from Roger Measor and Shane Lapham. They tempted Rob Wilson to tell him he was going wide. What do then? Turn sideways in the middle of the bend, come back underneath them. A tremendous last corner from Roger Measor, using all his experience and at that sort of speed. What a tremendous ride from Roger Measor and Shane Lapham. That was one they certainly wanted to win.
Where's the clerk of the course?
Oh, indeed, as those outfits come round, please show them your congratulations. Obviously, there will be presentations of trophies, but what a fabulous sidecar final. I've got to say, in my record book, that goes down to being one of the best finals we've seen this season. A lot of hard work from a lot of crews. I was tipping Gary Jackson, Roger Measor, and I suspected that Rustling might pull something out of the bag. He made the best of that start. But Rob Wilson, you've got to say congratulations to Rob. A brilliant final from Rob Wilson. He indeed looked as if he was going to have it, but that old man himself, Roger Measor, has come through and nicked it on the line. The official result, a win for number 51, Roger Measor and Shane Lapham. In second place, number 24, Rob Wilson and Vince Jones. Third place, number 6, Rustling and Paul Urich. In fourth place, number 12, Neville Penfold and Paul Randall. And fifth place, number 23, Gary Jackson and passenger Kevin Williams. 98.70 the time, 98.70. For those of you that might have missed any of those, 51, 24, 6, 12 and 23, 98.70. It concludes what has been an absolutely fabulous event here this afternoon. I think any of you going away from this circuit tonight will agree with that. We've seen some of the best sidecars we've got in the country competing at the top level. And what a fabulous victory, a very, very hard ride. And indeed, I think you can see the expression on Roger's face. That was hard work. That was a long...
There we go. Well done. Very much. Before we all go, I think everybody give Mitch a big hand because he nearly had a heart attack over this job. But he deserves a big pat on the back from everybody in the sport. I've got to tell you how much Paul's put in. He's given up every bit of spare time he's had. We're talking about Paul Fitzgerald, Copper's old spanner man. And he's been down here beavering away for solid 2 months with the rest of us. He hasn't missed a session down here, putting posters, stringing mugs, doing all the rest of it. Good people know what the million and one job's trying to do. Paul Fitzgerald has been a great driver here. We really appreciate it. Thank you all for coming.